Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Spring Fever with me, XFL, USFL, XLeague, MLFB, CFL Jim here, joined by my very special guest, my very special friend, Eric, Etoff21 on Twitter. My man, how are we doing?
You know what? The Bucks just made an epic comeback. Uncle Rico was sitting on a nice little Bucks play. Uncle Rico's got tickets to Game 6, so Uncle Rico's in a good spot right now.
We're all in a good spot. We've got basketball. We've got spring football in the air. There's so much actual news going on now with spring football and all these alternative leagues. I'm very happy. We're kind of tuning up for a lot of these leagues are going to be starting their seasons here in the next month or two. This is a very hyped time to be an alternative football fan.
You know what? I love this time of year. There's stuff going on. If you're a football fan, there's plenty of alternatives. USFL, I think, has been great. I think the games have been phenomenal.
They've been amazing. So let's just start there. Let's start with the USFL. The Week 4 recap. USFL Week 4. It was a fun week. This is a really fun week. Off the bat, if you're a USFL fan, you kind of noticed a distinct change starting in Week 3 and really coming to a head in Week 4. That being the refs are really kind of like tuning in and actually starting to throw more flags. This really came to a head. We'll talk about this specifically in one game, but I'm not a huge fan of that. There's been a lot of flags being thrown. Now, Week 4, game number 1, we had the Stars versus the Panthers, with the Stars winning 26-25. The Panthers, come the end, were like 1.5-point favorites here. That was a showing of they blanked out the Maulers, and the Stars' leading quarterback, Brian Scott, was injured. He's out probably for the season. Case Cook has looked pretty decent out there.
He looked great. I mean, he threw some dimes. He dropped some great passes. I'm just happy I finally won a bet with a field goal kicker missing a chip shot. I mean, that was my betting highlight of the year, betting football, because it seems to me I always get screwed by kickers. It was nice to have one go my way. The kicking game in the USFL is wild. Jeff Fisher was weird in this one. The fact that he kind of changed his mentality from the previous weeks of just never kicking. Like in Week 3, they didn't attempt a punt, they didn't attempt a field goal, and they never attempted a PAT. This time he was trying to kick like 52-yarders and just be really weird with it. I don't understand that whatsoever. Yeah, how can I say this? There's no consistency or logic with what I feel he's trying to do. I feel like week to week he's just kind of there.
It definitely seems that way. And the fact that it seems like Shea Patterson is the guy, although we'll get to it later, there was a couple roster moves, so maybe he's not the guy moving forward. But I don't think they can consistently win with Shea Patterson back there. And it's
not at all. I hate Shea Patterson. I hate Shea Patterson. I mean, I'm using the term hate here to describe somebody. I could not stand Patterson. I went through all of it. I'm not a Michigan fan, but a lot of my friends are, and just hearing them constantly complain about him. And I mean, dude, he got benched for, SHAXTON pinching or whatever.
Dude, Paxton Lynch actually looked pretty good in Week 2 when he was playing. But
he did. He looked great.
If he's hurt, I don't know. They did sign, we'll get to it later, but they signed Jordan Love from the Maulers. That could be a distinct improvement. I kind of liked Love a little bit on the Maulers. But overall, I think the Stars still looking pretty good. I think Cookus will improve with time. I'm still worried about that defense, especially that run defense. But This is a good game for the Stars. Good move forward. Even though both Bart Andrus and Jeff Fisher had some weird coaching decisions in this one.
I really think that Fisher just came in here with the idea that he was going to, just do his thing, get an NFL look. I really haven't been impressed what I've seen with him.
Not same. I really haven't either. I've gone with the opinion that like guys who are perennial only NFL guys might not be the best for this sort of league. Game number 2, we had the Generals versus the Maulers, with the Generals winning 21-13. So the Maulers did me a favor. They covered. This was an 8-point spread. This was the biggest spread of the weekend. And I feel like every other week, even number weeks, the Maulers kind of get like a moral victory where they come out and look semi-competitive.
That was the sexiest +10 I've ever won in my life, man. Like sometimes you win a bet and you're just like, God damn, that's just sexy. That was just sexy. But it's like beautiful. Ugly football.
You know, it's like like we said last week when we talked, I think this is the worst football team I've seen ever play a game.
So they potentially are. They're definitely one of the worst. We'll talk about it later with these XLeague scores, that there are wild discrepancies in some of these leagues with some of these teams, but the Maulers look really bad. I still have this outstanding bet that if the Maulers don't win a single game, I will have to eat cat food, like a whole can of cat food. So,
that would be disgusting, man.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I really hope they win. The Generals, I don't understand why the Generals are still doing this dual quarterback system. It's obvious to me, and I feel like to a lot of people out there watching, that DeAndre Johnson should be the starter.
He's just more explosive. He gives, with his legs and everything, he can do more in the pocket. I completely agree with you 100%. But isn't Luis Perez a professional bowler too? Is that why?
Yeah, I love Luis Perez. Professional. I am probably the self-proclaimed like biggest Luis Perez fan in the friggin' world. I love him. He's the Rat King of New York forever in my mind. XFL 2020 for life. But DeAndre Johnson just looks the part. I love Luis Perez to death, and he could have been a professional bowler. Maybe he should have gone back to professional bowling. But either way, the Generals, they continue marching onward. Their run game is insane, and DeAndre Johnson's looking great. The Maulers, it's tough that it's like an odd week coming up for them, but they get these moral victories every once in a while. I still don't think they're that great. They picked up a new quarterback, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like, I don't like the coach, don't like the offense. You know, I think the defense is okay.
It's fine. Yeah, the defense is like decent. You know, it's top half, but yeah.
There's just not much going on there. Just really say that to put it politely. But I'll probably be betting him every week though.
I mean I'll preview it right now for your show later, but I bet him this week. But game number 3, we had the Tampa Bay Bandits versus the Birmingham Stallions, the hometown favorite. The Stallions win 16-10. The Stallions just have magic. They could put Magoo out there. They could put Jamar Smith out there. They're just going to win. I'm of the opinion that the Stallions could go undefeated at Birmingham.
I agree with you 100%, but I do want to get your opinion on this. Okay. All week in the promos, all we heard, they were pumping up Smith from the Stallions, right? And then he doesn't go out there and play. I think that's a bad look for the league. That's my one pet peeve. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, all they do is pump this guy up, and then he's not there. Like, someone had to know he wasn't going to play. Like, cut the ads, do something.
You had to know. The only thing is they probably didn't know till Thursday, and by that point, all your ads everything's like already made. It's like all pre-made.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he had an undisclosed illness, which we all know it's COVID. Like, yeah, COVID. Yeah. So he didn't practice at all this last week. Makes sense he didn't play. Magoo looked decent out there. I just think the Stallions have this magic thing up their butt. It's crazy. And then for the Bandits, Todd Haley, he's just similar to Jeff Fisher, a perennial NFL guy, seems to not know what he's doing. He abandons the run right away, which in a league like the USFL, I think in order to be competitive, to be at the top of this league, you need to have a really solid run game. Because like the USFL, they're going full like old school with it, where the teams with the best run games are the ones winning. Like the Generals have the best run game. The Stallions have a really good run game. The Breakers have a really good run game. Those are the 3 best teams in my opinion. And what the Bandits are doing, they seem to be just putting everything on Jordan Ta'amu's shoulders and just hoping his athleticism kind of makes up for not a fantastic offensive line and not great play calling. And it's just not working out.
This has been the most disappointing team for me from what I've seen. I think
it's the most disappointing for a lot of people.
I expected a lot more, especially, and I can't pronounce last names at all. So with their quarterback, what he did in the XFL, coming here with Todd Haley, I expected a little bit more, and like they're the Tampa Bay Vipers of the USFL.
I have a point for that, though. Jordan Ta'amu looked really, really good in the XFL in 2020, but the St. Louis Battlehawks had, I believe, either the number 1 or the number 2 run game of that league.
Yeah.
The Bandits don't have like a run game whatsoever, and that's a combination of like maybe the running backs aren't as great as we thought, but also Todd Haley just doesn't scheme around a run game.
I just feel like Haley isn't prepared a lot of the times. Like you and I were messaging back and forth why he didn't go for 3 in that one situation 2 games ago. I just kind of feel like he has this attitude like, hey, I coach the highest level. I'm just going to come in there, do my thing, and I'll be able to win the game just because I'm Todd Haley.
I will say this. I love angry Todd Haley. Like when the refs go against him. This was the game, by the way, that like just flag city left and right. There was like an entire drive for both teams where there was a flag almost every play or every other play. Just terrible ref job. And then Mike Pereira and Joel Klatt get into like an argument during the broadcast. It's hilarious. I love it. I heard some theories that they the refs were instructed to just let them play to get eyeballs on it and to get all the hardcore football fans who want big hits back in, kind of like reeled in. And then now that we're at the halfway point, we're week 4, now they're just like, okay, refs actually referee like you would if it's an NFL game. And they're just throwing flags every friggin' play.
I liked it. Like, I think it's been a good product, but I like it when flags aren't being thrown. I like to be, you know what I mean? Like anytime there's flags,
it just makes the game smoother.
This was a rough game. Yeah, this was a rough game to watch. I'm not going to lie. Like, this was the rough game. This out of all the games this week, this was the roughest one for me to watch, the Stallions Bandits.
Same. It's just the fact that, like, there was a flag so often. It was, Game number 4, the final game of the weekend, we had the Houston Gamblers versus the New Orleans Breakers, with the Breakers winning 23-16. The Breakers get a last-minute touchdown. Kyle Sloter punches it in to get the cover. Oh, God, this is a fun one. Fun in the fact that like I had money on it and I like watching the Breakers play. Sloter also undefeated on Sundays. So far they haven't lost when they've played on a Sunday. This Gamblers offense is the worst offense in the league last week. Awesome. And that's counting the Maulers.
Yeah, which is saying a lot. Like if you underperform the Maulers, that's like an accomplishment in itself.
They showed it. If it weren't for the turnovers that Kyle Sloter and this Breakers team was giving them, this wouldn't have even been competitive. There was like one good pass from Clayton Thorson to JoJo Ward, gets the touchdown. Clayton Thorson, I love the guy to death. He throws either like 40-yard bombs or just screens. He can't do any intermediate passing.
Yeah, no in between stuff at all. Nothing at all.
It's nothing. And I expected at least a Kevin Sumlin offense to be high-powered and, like, fun. I expected the kind of opposite. This defense is very turnover crazy, and they're getting a lot of turnovers. This offense is bland and just not good.
Generic. It's generic. There's nothing special. Like you said, like, Sumlin, you expect something, and it's been, you know what I mean? Like, there's no creativity whatsoever.
No creativity for a team named the Gamblers. Like, come on.
Yeah.
You want to go crazy with it. The Breakers, it's obvious to me that Kyle Sloter is still playing injured. I expect them to just get better throughout the season as his groin kind of heals up and he gets that running threat back. I think the Breakers might be all around the best team. Like they have a really, really good defense. Their best defensive player and best trash talker, Dalvin Bellamy, was not playing this game. And Kyle Sloter.
Hey, bro, we done talking. Bro, it's 31-3. We have nothing to talk about. It is 31-3. We have nothing to talk about. Bro, they got 200 yards total. They got 200 yards total.
I love that man so much.
Love it.
I love it, man. But like their wide receivers, their skill positions are good. Their quarterback's probably the best quarterback in the league. Their defense is good. The only thing I would say that the Breakers don't have is like a fantastic offensive line. But honestly, I don't think any of these teams have like a fantastic offensive line. And I'll attribute that mainly to the short training camp.
Oh, 100%. Offensive line, like with all the schemes, the blocking, the reads pre-snap is an insanely underrated position to learn and everything. So I agree with you 100% here. Let me ask you a quick gambler question, though. Betting gambling question. Do we wait to take the Breakers in the playoffs if they play the Stallions in the finals, or do you think there's value on taking them to win it all right now?
So obviously at the beginning of the season there was value. They were like 7-1 when they opened up. Mm-hmm. Right now I think they're the second favorite.
They're the second favorite right now.
Yeah,
I think like a plus 300, plus 350.
I mean, probably there's probably value in that because they're gonna probably play the Stallions in the first round. My playoffs right now are Stallions and the Breakers for the South, and then the Stars and the Generals for the North. I think there's value on both the Stars and the Breakers because you're not going to get plus 350 Breakers money line in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Not at all. That's why I was wondering.
And I think the Breakers, they already showed
team.
that they could beat the Stars when they were both at 100% week 1.
Yeah, I like this Breakers team a lot. Like you said, best quarterback, explosive playmakers. I like what I'm seeing from them, and I just want to know if I should put a little money from this Bucks game I just won on the old Breakers to win it all.
I think there's still value at plus 350. I definitely think there's still value. And then they were also the first team to grab someone just off the street. They were the first person to grab like a waiver person. They grabbed a kicker. And like that, now they have a top 3, top 2 kicker in this whole league.
And like special teams in tight games is such a big thing. We saw it with the Panthers. Like Panthers can't kick a field goal.
The USFL has
kick a field goal.
There are 3 teams with a kicker. There are the Breakers, the Stallions, and the Gamblers. And like that like Vogel for the Gamblers is the only reason they're in a lot of these games.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the guy's money.
And that just changes everything. So before we start breaking down week 5, the halfway point of the USFL, let's talk a little roster movements. So Michigan Panthers, they released Deshaun Dixon, offensive guard, but they grabbed Josh Love, quarterback, from the Maulers. So they got a new quarterback. They actually have some quarterback competition. Shea Patterson's not the only boy in town anymore.
How long before Love starts, you think?
I think you'll probably, I don't know about starting, but you'll probably see some Josh Love in this week right now in week 5.
Against the Bandits, you think you're going to see him?
I think you'll see a little bit. It's hard because I like Josh Love on the Maulers a lot because he had all the chemistry with they were all a bunch of San Jose State kids.
Yeah.
I still think he's a pretty good quarterback. It's yet to, like, if he doesn't have that chemistry, it's yet to be seen if he's a huge improvement over Shea Patterson. But I bet for sure you'll see him like maybe come out for a couple drives here and there.
Yeah, I mean, if it was my choice, I would announce the switch right now. I mean, just because I'm not a Shea Patterson guy.
I have no idea what they're going to do. It's Jeff Fisher. It's up in the air. For the Generals, they got a new kicker, Austin Jones. I don't know very much about Austin Jones, but like a new kicker's like any kicking competition for these teams is an improvement.
100%.
Those are really the only big moves. I know the Maulers grabbed a quarterback just off the street. They grabbed, I forget the guy's name, but it's a quarterback from JMU who had some decent highlight reels when I was watching that. So they could be trying out a brand new quarterback.
Those JMU teams, they usually have some talent. They usually put up some points at the FBS level. So, I mean, the kid could sling. Yeah,
they looked really good. So for the Week 5 preview, I'm not going to talk gambling right now. I just want your opinion on just like the money line, just who's going to win this game. So game number 1, we have the Panthers versus the Bandits.
I'm going to take the team with the better kicking game, better quarterback. I'm going to take the Bandits.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bandits too. This Michigan offense doesn't do it for me. This is hard because I think this Michigan defense can get to Jordan Ta'amu, but I think the fact that it is Ta'amu and he has that athleticism, he can kind of avoid a lot of tackles and get some stuff. I would take the Bandits as well.
But it's going to be a close game though, and like field goal.
It's going to be low scoring as hell, I bet.
I agree with you on that, Bandits.
Next up, we have the Breakers versus the Generals. A really good game. This is probably the most exciting game. This one and the next one are the 2 most exciting games of the weekend. I think there's going to be 2 really good games, maybe 3.
You know what? I was going back and forth this one, just because Kelly's not 100%. I'm going to go with the Generals. I think we're going to see more of the dual quarterback playing, and they have a better run game. So I'll take the Generals here.
This is a really tough one. The Breakers have a really good defensive line. If Dalvin Bellamy's playing, I might take the Breakers. This Generals team's kind of on a bit of a hot streak.
Won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You know.
Kyle Sloter, not at 100% though. I'm going to take the Breakers. I'm going to go with the Breakers here. Getting it done. Next up, we have the Stallions versus the Stars. I think this could also be a really, really fun game. But I've already said it before. I think the Stallions don't lose at home. I think they win this one.
Somehow. I think the game is going to be close, but I think the Stallions Stallions win. Do we have any word on Smith? Is he a go this week, or don't we know?
He should be a go this week. I think he's been practicing. He should be a go.
Yeah.
I think even with Alex Magoo out there, like Magoo looked pretty good. I think they're both pretty comparable skill wise. Like they both are pretty decent at running. They're all right at passing with like spurts of not getting a lot done. I just think Jamar Smith, I think the locker room is behind him a little bit more, and he's that dog. He just has that it factor that like people root for him.
Oh, for sure. The guy, you said it. He has it. You know what I mean? Like that's as simple as you can put it. He has it. Yeah. So I agree.
Exactly. And the last game of the weekend, we have the Pittsburgh Maulers taking on the Houston Gamblers. If ever there was a chance for the Maulers to get a W, I need this. But it's an odd number week. And what do the Maulers do on odd number weeks? They get fucking embarrassed.
They shit the bed. They shit the bed. So as much as I want to take the Maulers here, I think the Gamblers get it done. Like I really want to take the Maulers. I'll probably be betting the Maulers, but I think the Gamblers get it done. I don't even think the Maulers will win a game, to be honest with you.
I think the Gamblers get it done here too. God, I hope the Maulers win a game. I really, really do. I think the Gamblers win this one. So we're at the halfway point now for the USFL. How do you think the season's gone so far?
I think the product has been great. I love watching the games. There's just a couple things like you can't find a box score to save your life, which is frustrating as hell. You can't find injury
Fox
reports.
Sports. There's like no apps on your phone that have them, but like the Fox Sports website and the USFL website has box scores for every game.
Okay, yeah, because I'm usually on my phone, so I haven't been able to.
I have been able to find 0 apps that are like showing anything.
And now let me ask you this: like, do you think, like, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theory guy? Do you think ESPN is holding the USFL down?
I mean, they're obviously they're not super promoting it because they don't really have any reason to. But it's the same thing. Like you saw it with Florio. Florio was bad-mouthing the XFL the entire time in 2020, and then the USFL comes along, and since he's an NBC guy, they start promoting it now that they're like in depth with it. So like these organizations are gonna promote the leagues that they're a part of, obviously. But I think they don't have any reason to like put it down. They're probably just not gonna promote it. Like Fox is obviously gonna promote the hell out of it because they own it.
Well, I mean, like I'm looking at the ESPN app right now. I can get cricket scores.
Yeah, they're not,
but I can't get any USFL scores. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't understand that either.
Point.
Because the XFL, you could get it on like the Score, you could get it on Yahoo, you could get it on everything.
Yeah.
That might just be like a USFL thing where they didn't try and push that as much. I don't know. I don't know I don't know how you get on those apps, but they didn't do it. I love the product. I love everything about it so far. I
think there's a market for it. I love it too. And the games have been great. There's haven't really been that game. You know what I mean?
No, all the games have been pretty all of them except for like that Michigan Maulers game week 3 where Maulers just got trounced 24-0. All the games have been pretty close for the very least. I'm coming around on the fact that like I'm still not a huge fan on the hub model just based on the fact that I like seeing crowds at every stadium for every game. But,
I agree with you there.
Fox seems to be happy. Like Fox came out today and said like, "Oh, we're really happy with how the USFL is performing," and their ratings have been pretty good. Like NBC and Fox, like the main networks, they're getting like 1.2 million views, and they're still beating out like MLB and NBA. They're even beating out like on the main networks. They're beating out like NBA and NHL and their playoffs.
Football plays.
It does.
Football is it. Football plays. My nephews love it. I mean, they're like watching it at all. I mean, they're a little disappointed because the Detroit Lions aren't playing. You know what I mean? Because they're so young. But I mean, they love it. They absolutely love it. It's a great product. I just wish it was promoted a little bit better, and injury stuff was a little bit easier to find.
I've been that from the get-go. The two main issues I have is their promotion hasn't been as good, and then they're very weird about the injury things. The other roster move that I didn't catch until more recently, Chase DeMoore off of the Michigan Panthers, big TikTok guy, defensive lineman. I don't really care. It's whatever.
Is what it is, man.
It is what it is. Up next, we'll move on to the XFL, where we have actual, real XFL news. We got player spotlight camps coming up. We have these like tryout camps
for the XFL. They're coming. They're here. So they have the cities, the areas that they're doing these announced. So they're doing camps in DC, Florida, Hawaii. Their HBCU camp, I like that they're doing like a full HBCU camp.
Yeah.
That's going to be at Jackson State. And then they're doing an Arizona and a Texas camp. So I like when a league really zones in on the HBCUs. The XFL in 2020 had a lot of HBCU players on it. The USFL has a decent amount too. These leagues can grab these HBCU guys that, like, the people who watch FCS football, and especially HBCUs, they're diehard fans. And these players are good, and they get overlooked.
You hit it. Like, there's going to be so many diamonds in the rough found going there that they're going to get a chance to go to the XFL, chance to go to the league, just because of this. I mean, I think this is great what the XFL is doing.
I love it. So the workouts they're doing at these camps, they're doing all the measurements, your height, weight, arm size, your hand size, everything like that. They're doing the 40-yard dash, your 3-cone drill, your triple jump, the quarterback, whatever movements, then the position drills. The only one that's missing off here to make it like a real combine is a bench press.
You know what? Like, I always think the bench press is the most pointless thing.
It is, but damn it, it's fun.
You know, except when they show the punter is just racking out like 23. That was hyping me. But yeah, I think the bench press can go. You know what'd be fun is if me and you like videotaped ourselves doing these.
I will. That's the face. That's the face you have right there when a punter is racking up 23. I will 100% videotape myself doing all of these workouts and send it to the XFL because I was disappointed for myself based on these eligibility requirements. So players have to have graduated high school before 2019. They have to have exhausted all their collegiate eligibility, which is interesting. Interesting that, like, they're not going to, like,
really interesting.
Because you'd figure they could take like juniors or whatever.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. Maybe they're just gonna grab those players and they don't need to like try out. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one for me. No more than 4 years have elapsed since a player's last collegiate or professional football game. Players not under contract with any other professional football league, and a player is not a current member of a collegiate football team for the 2022 season. So, no,
that makes sense.
That one makes sense.
Yeah.
This one hurt. I mean, I'm not any of these, but I think actually I might be able to try out. I think based on these, the fact that it's no more than 4 years have elapsed since a player's last collegiate or professional football game, that's technically true for me. So I still might try and throw my name in the running and try out for the XFL.
That'd be phenomenal if you made it. Like Disney could make a movie like they did like for that pitcher for the Tampa Bay Rays.
That would be amazing.
Like that would be awesome, dude. That would be awesome. Obviously, Vince Vaughn would play me in the movie.
The only other issue I have with these training camps is they're not open to the public. So
what? I would totally go if I
would go too.
Areas.
I don't know. They just decided to kind of keep it closed. Maybe it's just like a cost thing,
which makes sense.
It makes sense. So they have 3 packages. It's really 2 packages. They have the $250 package, which is player registration. The fees include your registration, the results, you get a lunch, and refreshments. Then they have the $410 package, which is your registration plus a video package. And then you get all that other stuff. Plus, they make a personalized workout video for you to send to for you to have. Which for players who are just trying to get film out there, even if you don't make the XFL,
I mean, you get professionally made film. That is huge.
Yeah, so even if you don't make the league, you still get professionally made film to put out. Yeah,
which is great because I mean, like, getting your foot in the door, getting film. This could lead to there's a ton of different leagues. This could open a lot of doors. I like that a lot.
And then if you want to move showcases, so say you originally want to do the Texas showcase, but something comes up, you can't make it, you have to make the Arizona one. It's $25 to transfer to a different location.
Okay, that's not bad.
I mean, that makes sense. I guess also I assume you'd have to pay for the travel and everything too.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I wonder what's in the box lunch though.
That's the thing. That's the interesting thing. You don't get to know. It's the mystery. It's a mystery bag.
I mean, Yeah, but I mean, I think what the XFL is doing is phenomenal. I mean, I think it's going to be promoted a little bit better than the USFL.
I think
You
now
got the
that
Rock
like
there, which is naturally a face for it.
I think now that like Danny Garcia, The Rock, and Redbird, they've all come out and said like, okay, we're in the phase now. They've rebranded and everything.
Yeah.
They're gonna start like doing these things. They're gonna have these training camps. They're gonna do a draft. They're gonna announce coaches. They're gonna have these announcements pretty consistently.
Yeah, and I think like you said, with The Rock there, he's recognizable. Get his brand behind it. It's just gonna grow. They're getting I just read Mike Tice was doing some stuff, which is absolutely huge, because former coach.
Mm-hmm.
At the NFL. So yeah, getting those former players there, going to these different type places for these tryouts. I think it's great. I think they're opening the door for a lot of players.
I love it. I'm super hyped. Moving on, we have the CFL. Couple big news things. So practices are beginning. A little bit of roster movement. We have going from XFL to CFL. We have the DC Defenders quarterback Cardale Jones, Ohio State legend. Ooh. Cardale Jones, moving to the Edmonton Elks.
I mean, he can sling it. I mean, I would like.
He's
to
a
see
statue
him.
In the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, he can throw.
He can throw.
He can throw it, and with how they play in the CFL, I think his game translates well up there.
I think he could be decent.
The big thing is, the CBA expires on Saturday, my friend. Are they going to get this bad boy done?
That's I don't know. Could this holdout really kind of I wouldn't expect to see like an MLB style holdout from the Canadian players. I want the players to get their money. I don't expect to see like a super long holdout. I expect them to get something done probably this week.
I was looking online and I really don't read a Winnipeg newspaper that frequently, but this sports reporter was adamant that it was going to be shut down for a little bit, and he thinks the season's in jeopardy. I mean, I read that the union told the members to stay at home to not come. The union told the veteran quarterbacks not to go to rookie camp, which they usually do.
Yep.
And then I also read that the last strike was in 1974, and it was a 12-dayer. Players are looking for improved guaranteed revenue. Leagues looking for more roster flexibility, not as much turnover. I don't know. This league, they don't get paid much to begin with. So, I want to see these players protected. I mean, I don't even know.
I'm 100% on the player side. I expect, if anything, we'll probably see some preseason holdout. Yeah. This is just me speculating. I expect to see boots, cleats on the field and whatnot come actual game time. Once the season fully starts in June.
Oh, I mean, I think I'd be shocked if it didn't go, but I think they are going to start, like you said. They'll miss a little bit of the preseason.
You could definitely see. I could definitely see, especially and maybe at the very least, if all the American players just decide not to come. That would be wild.
The one thing they said is they wanted more Canadian-born players. That was one of the things.
They've always the league wants that. Some of the fans want that. I don't know if it's good for the product if you exclude a lot of the better American players. I saw Chad Kelly tweeted today that he's at practice. Swag Kelly's in. You don't think people are going to tune in to check out Swag Kelly?
Swag Kelly. I have not heard that name for a while. I'll definitely tune in. To see him and Cardale Jones be slinging the pigskin around.
Right.
I'm definitely in. Now, the one thing I'll give the CFL credit is that league, they actually have some field goal kickers. They have the CFL.
So out of all these spring leagues, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm XFL fan forever. I'm USFL fan forever. Yeah. The CFL has undeniably the best product out of every non-NFL football league. The CFL is the best product.
Yeah, not even close. Easier to find. For me, easier to find.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. I mean,
it's easy to find the games. It's easy to bet on. It's easy to find news. The players get paid more for the CFL than almost any of these other leagues. The only downside for at least the American players is during the CFL season, you have to move to Canada for half a year.
You know what? Canada ain't that bad, my friend.
It's not cheap though. Like for those players that are living in like Toronto, it's not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Toronto once, and
but then also
it was a little pricey.
For some of these guys, they're like they live in Texas. Could you imagine going from Texas to like Edmonton, Alberta, during like the fall and winter seasons?
That'd be brutal. Like that would be brutal. Like not experiencing the snow, and then you're in the Northern Territory playing a football game. That'd be a little brutal.
Yeah, and then like also you're away from your friends and family for months, but you get paid for it at least.
Yeah.
Up next, fan-controlled football. The breaking news, not breaking, but like huge news out of FCF. The first FCF trade ever has happened. Terrell Owens traded to the Knights of, I think he got traded to the Knights of Legion. I don't know. It's whatever. It's fan-controlled football. It's just fun. You can't really bet on it, so it's a fun league. It's a blast to watch.
I watched a little bit. I like what's his name? Bob Menery. I watched a little bit of his team. Saw Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football a little bit.
Yeah, the Zappers, the worst team in the league.
Yeah, they were on TV. They were on the TV over the weekend. Saw them play a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That's been my only experience with fan control football.
It's hard to watch, like especially just because the fact that like they play on Saturday too. So obviously, you look behind me. I'm probably watching the USFL when they're playing.
Yeah,
I love it. Like what I've caught, like the season's great. The product's fun. I'd love to go to a game.
Gets hit.
Oh my goodness.
Flip and still delivered a dime right there to Calvin.
How does he complete this throw?
He's used to hurdling, so he hurdled and then got it up into the air and made sure Calvin was able to catch it.
I like that one, Chase. Oh man, that looked like one of those animations in Madden.
It's a fun league.
The fact that Motley Crue is playing, I'm in.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Oh, yeah,
I love it. I'm probably gonna watch like the championship game for sure. So right now, they're also at the halfway point. We have the Bored Ape Football Club, number 1, 4-0. I also like they're really in bed with these NFTs. Whatever, I don't care. They just announced their own version of NBA Top Shot. Whatever, I don't give a shit. So Bored Ape Football Club 4-0, Knights of G-Gen 3-1, should have been Stars 3-1, the Beast at 2-2. 8 Okie, so like Steve Aoki has a team. The 8 Okie, 2-2. Glacier Boys 1-3. The Kingpins 1-3, and Johnny Manziel and the Zappers, bottom of the barrel, 0-4.
You know what? It doesn't matter what league he's in, NFL or the Fan Control League. Last place for Johnny Football every year.
Yeah, it's just he doesn't do great. Either way, halfway point for Fan Control Football League. My takeaway and my thoughts: huge improvement from year 2 to year 1. From year 1 to year 2, I mean. And I like the product. It seems fun. They kind of had their niche. They do good on Twitch, and their fan interaction is top notch. They do a really good job of like giving the fans what they want. I know the fans call the plays. I really wish we could get gambling on the Fan Control Football League.
I would love to get gambling on anything football related. Anything football-related gambling, I'm totally in.
Every league that we talk about from here on out, I'm just going to blanket statement, I want gambling here.
Let me ask you this. I don't mean to sound like naive. Is there like an app you go to?
So yeah, you can either get the fan-controlled football app, or otherwise, if you watch it on Twitch, they have it embedded on there, where if you have your team that you have selected as your team, it gives you like a 5-second window to pick one of 4 plays, 2 running, 2 passing. You pick it, and then that's however many votes gets whichever play gets the most votes, that's the play they run. There's one coach in the whole league. He coaches the whole thing.
Really?
So every team has the same. It's just one coach coaching the whole thing.
There's one coach for all.
Yeah, so like that's why like all the plays are basically the same. So it's one coach coaching the whole thing. So it's all kind of streamlined in that regard.
I like it.
It's pretty cool. And then you can build like experience points by calling plays and making other votes. Like fans vote on the uniform. They vote on everything. So it's pretty cool.
Looks like I have an activity to do on Saturday. Yeah,
it's pretty fun. I'm here for it. Up next, we have ELF, the European League of Football, another league that I want to like have gambling for. They have announced that they are adopting the XFL 2020's kickoff rule, where if you don't remember, basically the kicker starts by themselves and the two teams are kind of like 10 yards apart. And once the ball enters the hands of the return man, that's when the kickoff fully begins.
I like that a lot better.
That's fine.
I think it leads to less injury, less, guys running full speed in another. I like that a lot better.
I like that. I like the USFL. I just like anything to kind of make kicking more important and less touchbacks.
I miss the old school XFL where there's the ball down and then two guys would just
They're
sprint
never doing that. They're never bringing that back.
I mean, I love that. I mean, we would gamble on who we thought would win that way back in the day.
God, it's so amazing. So the season starts in June. It's starting next month. I'm gonna have some team breakdowns coming for that, but here's just a list of the teams right now. The Istanbul Rams, the Raiders Tirol, I don't remember where they're at. The Rain Fire, great name, because the town that they're in is Rain. So they're the Rain Fire. The Vienna Vikings, Barcelona Dragons, the Panthers Reclaw, Frankfurt Galaxy, Hamburg Sea Devils, the Leipzig Kings, the Cologne Centurions, the Berlin Thunder, and the Stuttgart Surge.
I mean, I can let you know right now, I am all on. I'm going to take Istanbul as my team.
I'm a Panthers Reclaw guy. They're based out of Poland. I like them quite a bit. I've actually interviewed someone who played in the ELF. He said it was a really fun experience. He got kind of boned because he played during COVID. So, like, they had a whole bunch of restrictions when he was there. Yeah, he was playing during, like, the 2021 season. But you still get, like, I think if you don't make the XFL or USFL, I would recommend trying out for, like, the ELF. Because then it doesn't pay as much, but also they pay for your room and board. And you get to live in Europe for like half a year and travel around Europe. That's
that
pretty
sounds like
cool.
A great deal. That sounds like a phenomenal deal. You get to play football, live in Europe. You have professional coaches training you. You get film, and more importantly, you get game film. This is a no-brainer in my eyes.
I would love it. I love it. But either way, hype for ELF. Next up, Major League Football, MLFB. News coming out there, they hired their fourth coach, Ernest Williams. So for the MLFB, here are the coaches we have for the four teams. Ernest Wilson, Bill Conley, Terry Shea, and of course, Jerry Glanville.
Jerry is still around?
Jerry Glanville, head coach. So we don't know which teams these guys are coaching. So there's a team in Arkansas, Virginia, Ohio, and Texas, I believe. That's the four teams they're doing.
Okay. Oh my
God. Yeah, Jerry Glanville was their first coach that they announced.
I am whatever team he's rolling with.
Yeah, basically that's where I'm at too. Whichever team Jerry Glanville coaches, that's kind of the team I'm going with. Still don't have a start date yet. The other announcement they had is something about their stocks because for those of you who don't know, and Eric, I don't know if you know this, Major League Football is a publicly traded company. They have a stock that the fans can buy the stock.
How does I don't even know how that works.
Do not ask me how it works. I do not know, but it is publicly traded. The stock right now is at 4 cents. For those of you who don't know, it actually went up. It was 2 cents not too long ago. So buy the stock because when the season comes, it's only going up, baby. I
mean, for 3 cents, well, why not, man?
Yeah,
3 cents is 3 cents, my friend. Yeah, I mean that's a little strange. I've never heard that before. I think it's going to be fun. Is this going to be like the USFL? Do we know any of the rules or?
They haven't announced like anything. I'm just
okay.
So like it's going to be. I think they're just going to do NFL rules. Major League Football is really billing itself as like purely a developmental league. Like these other leagues are competitive owned leagues that like. Yeah, the players are probably going to try and go for the NFL because every player wants to go to the NFL, but Major League Football is really trying to make it their mission to, like, send players to the NFL.
So
their salary's not going to be as big. Their salary's not as big, but they're also going to have, like, a shorter season. They're really trying to, like, saying, we're going to coach up players.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I like it, too. I think it's way better than the Spring League, which charged players to play.
Yeah, like, why would you charge a player to play? You're supposed to be helping. That makes 0 sense. But
yeah, that was a whole weird deal. Up next,
The X League, my darling joy, my baby X League. I love this league.
This is what happens when a guy's coming right down in your face.
Exactly. I want to come all down the X League's face. I love it. So for those of you who don't know, the X League is Japanese professional American football. It's been going on since the 90s. I love it.
I've never heard of this before.
I want to bet on this league so goddamn bad. Some book out there, let me bet on the X League, please. This is the other one, by the way, similar to the ELF. If you don't make like a professional team in America, go to the X League. Live in Japan for like a year. Why not?
Why not? Why not? I mean, you'd be a king there. Like, if you were any good, I mean, I've seen, what is that movie with Tom Selleck back in the day? Mr. Baseball?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand, like, hypothetically, if I was, like, younger and, like, trying to make it, I would want to go where I could get the most reps in and get some game film.
But also, it's also like you go there. It's traveling abroad for like a year.
Yeah, that's something I wished I would have done when I was younger. You know, live in Japan for what? How long is the season? 5 months? 4 months?
So the way they do it, they do it. They do a very interesting thing. So they do a shortened spring season and then a whole fall season. So they have 2 seasons in 1 year.
Oh wow!
They do like a spring tournament and then they do a fall season.
I like that a lot. Like, you know, why not? You get to go to Japan, come back to America, go back to Japan.
Right.
I would do that in a heartbeat. And I mean, like, those fans, like, I've seen those baseball games. Those fans have to be insane.
And yeah, they actually get like pretty decent turnout for the football games too.
Football, I'm telling you, like, if you just look, everyone talks about like soccer and whatnot. There's always going to be a place for football.
There will always be one. So they announced the divisions right now for the X1 Super, which is like, that's their better league. That's their top league. They have like 2 leagues. They have the X1 Super, the X1 Area. We're only really going to focus on Super. Area they both have like 8 teams, but Area, it's like, it's hard to find the Super games. It's almost impossible to find the Area games. So the X1 Super divisions, they have Division A, the Panasonic Impulse, the IBM Big Blue. Also, all the teams are like corporate sponsored. So they have the Panasonic Impulse, the IBM Big Blue, the Nojima Sajimahara Rise, the All Mitsubishi Lions, the Asahi Beer Silver Stars. That's right, there's a team sponsored by a beer company. And then the Lixil Deers. Division B, they have the Fujitsu Frontiers, the perennial powerhouse, the Obik Seagulls, the team who just won last year, and I think the Obik Seagulls have the most championships out of any team. The Tokyo Gas Creators, the Elcom Kobe Phoenies, the Asahi Challengers. That's right, the beer company has 2 teams, and then they have the Equal One Fukuoka Suns.
Wow, they got some. You know what? The fact that you have so many corporate sponsors just says all you need to know about this league. Like, it's going to be around. It's got.
It's been around since the 90s.
Yeah, I need to find an illegal streaming service where I can watch some of this stuff, man.
Yeah, I need to be able to actually find streams of it now too, because they went to their own like TV package, but you have to have like a Japanese IP address in order to like qualify for it or something. I need to look up how to watch it as an American. The other thing kind of like hindering the watchability of this league is the games are on at like 2 a.m. because the time difference is so crazy.
I mean, a little X League after dark, man.
I love it. I'll watch it all the time. So the divisions have been announced. There's 8 teams. Those are the teams right now. The spring tournament is going to be starting up here, I think, at the end of this month. I think the 22nd is when that sort of starts up. But this year they announced that they're doing the Green Bowl Challenge, which is like their other interleague tournament where the 2 leagues kind of play each other. So we had the first round of that, 2 games. We had the As One Black Eagles. Shout out them because they follow me on Twitter. As One Black Eagles versus the Panasonic Impulse. So the score disparities you see in this league are insane. So the Panasonic Impulse won 69-0.
Is there like, is the scoring still the same, or is
so they play they play NFL style. They play college football rules.
Okay, all right.
69-0.
I mean, like, that's mind-boggling to me.
That's an example you see. So the Panasonic Impulse are an X1 super team. The AS1 Black Eagles are an X1 area team. The difference you see is the super teams, not only do they have the better Japanese players, but they also get the American players more often than not. So you'll see like an American like FBS running back can just play on one of these teams and just dominate.
So my question to you is like, because I don't know this. Let's say like I'm whoever, and I go over there. Do I pick my team? Do I go in a draft, or is it kind of like whoever has the most money?
I think you try out. I think they're similar to the CFL. They have like a cap on how many American players they can have on a team.
Okay.
So I think you kind of like have to. They will either seek you out or you seek them out, and you just kind of like go to like a tryout.
Okay.
Because they just did their tryouts not too long ago with like the Japanese college football ranks, and there was like a sumo wrestler, an amateur sumo wrestler who was like dominating training camps.
Just working the trenches, dude.
Yeah, he was better than every like college football offensive lineman they had.
I mean, if he played in the NFL, he'd be my favorite player by far.
Mine too.
I get his jersey up in the autograph section.
Oh, perfect. The other score was the Elcom Kobe Phoenix 27 versus the Asahi Soft Drink Warriors 20. This is a much closer game. So the Green Bowl tournament's going on. This is like the first round. It'll end in May, and then the actual full spring tournament starts up, and I'm very hyped for it. I love the XLeague.
We got to find a book. We got to find a book that takes some action on this, man.
So we'll get to that in a second. But the last league we're talking about this week is the A7FL. We're at the halfway point in the season. There's so many teams in the A7FL. For those of you who don't know, the A7FL is a full contact, no pads, no helmet league here in the States.
Love it.
It's amazing. It's on Stadium, so go check out Stadium. Go watch them. Go support them. My goal right now for the A7FL is I want to, if I can't go to the finals, I want to live stream like me watching the finals. So
I'd watch you live streaming the final.
I want that.
Where are the finals at?
I don't know. They might just it looks like they play on like high school fields. So the way they do it is they shorten the field. They like skinny up the fields.
Yeah.
Where they're playing with like 25 yards of space because it's 7-on-7.
Yeah. So like, do you get 4 downs to get a touchdown?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Everything like that. They're super high scoring games a lot of the time.
Okay.
And it's fun.
And
I just love how hyped the announcers get. It's great.
Is it like Iron Eagle on cocaine?
Basically. It's the toughest 7-on-7 league I've ever seen. Like, there's big hits.
And no pads.
No pads, no helmet.
Jesus.
Yeah, you have to sign a waiver to play in the league.
Stadium is where you can watch it?
Yeah, you can watch on Stadium on the Stadium YouTube channel or the A7FL YouTube channel or on Twitch. Or the Stadium app. Or whatever streaming service you have that offers Stadium.
You know what? And when are the games usually?
The shitty thing is also they're on Saturdays and Sundays, so like they're prime USFL hours. But sometimes I could squeeze one in, especially if the USFL does the one game on Fridays. So they only do like one game on Sundays. I can usually catch one on Sundays.
You know what? I will definitely do my best to catch one of these for next week.
I love it. And that leads us to our final part, the question of the week that I want to ask you and the people and everyone out there. How the hell can we get a book to offer lines on these leagues?
You know what? If you could still use 5 dimes, I bet you 5 dimes has.
I bet 5 dimes would. I think on fucking Bovada or something like that, I swear to God, there was one day where I saw like Japanese high school volleyball. If I'm seeing lines like this, where the fuck is the XLeague? If I could bet on late night Russian table tennis, where is the XLeague? Come on.
That makes 0 sense. Like, I want action. I want satisfaction.
This is what happens when a guy's coming right down in your face.
I want to come down the face of a book that gives me these lines. I will give you my money. I will pay for the access to use your book if you let me bet on these leagues. That is how desperate I am.
I mean, there's got to be some book. You know what I mean?
There's got to be something. That's my question. That's where we're going to end this show. This is Spring Fever. Eric, what do you got going on? Shout out your shit, buddy.
Well, I got the you're coming on my podcast. We're gonna go live tomorrow. We're gonna talk betting, and you know, my boy Brandon's gonna come on. We're gonna talk a little NASCAR. That's basically it on the podcast. A little low key, nothing too exotic this week. You know, just kind of getting a little quality time. You know, quality time with my two boys, Jimmy and Brando.
God, I love it. Check out Uncle Rico's podcast. Follow him on Twitter at etop20. I think you're on like everything now, aren't you? You're on like Twitter. I saw you on TikTok. You're on Instagram. Yeah, you're on YouTube.
Instagram, YouTube. You know, I mean, I'm just, you know, was it trying to expand the brand? Is that
I think that's what they say. I think you're trying to expand the brand and get that bag.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying my hardest. YouTube, Twitch. You know, it is. You know, just
gotta get
a
out
man
there.
chasing his dream. Man chasing his dream, trying to get JLo to respond to a direct message.
I'm trying the same thing with Danny Garcia, my friend. You guys know where to find me. XFL Jim everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm all over. Love you guys. This has been Spring Fever. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Give us subscribe to the feed on like audio podcast too, because we're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere. Love you guys. Peace out. Football.